Hey guys, and welcome to my first deck guide. I will be going over my bowler control graveyard deck that I've been using for quite a while. It's my favorite deck by far, and I hope you guys like the video. So, the footage for these 3 gameplays that I'm going to show are taken from a grand challenge I just did using exclusively this deck. I went 12-1. I will be in the future showing my losses. I didn't this time because it was just kind of a loss where it was early on in the challenge. I lost like a Sparky deck. I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing. Usually I like easily beat it. So I didn't really think there was anything to learn from it. It was just me not paying attention to what I was doing. So anyway, first off I'll be against a Lava Hound deck, which is actually a pretty good deck against this because it has a lot of graveyard counters. Fortunately, I do take Inferno Tower in my variation, which I think is really strong against Lava Hound, obviously. Tombstone would be really weak to it. So, let me talk a little bit. So, my starts with this deck, I will start with either Ice Golem at the back, Archers at the back, split, because then they can do a little bit of damage on either side, and you can kind of switch up what you want to do, depending on what your opponent does. And then, if my hand isn't great, I'll sometimes start Bowler at the back, but I really don't want to do that until I know what my opponent's running. And then sometimes I start Mega Minion at the back, but I like having Mega Minion in hand because it's so good on defense. So yeah, I always start slow and I play the beginning of the game early because the 2 main objectives throughout when you're playing this deck, and you have to keep this in mind because keep these things in mind because it's really important to the gameplay. You want to realize what counters they have for graveyard, and you want to realize, and this is with any deck, you want to realize what they're doing to try to win. Like, what's their win condition, what do they need to do to win, and how can you counter it with your cards. So in this situation, obviously, I notice he has Lava Hound, and my Inferno Tower is going to be the counter, so that's what you'll see. And I actually decided to do a really upfront Inferno Tower here because I want to punish him while he's a little bit lower on Elixir, and I want to catch him off guard so I can kill it before it gets to my tower. Also, it's like a good place to, people don't want to lightning until like it's closer, and if you do it up front like that, if he does lightning, he's going to be completely out of Elixir, and then you can just play a Mega Minion, and the Mega Minion will take care of everything before he can play any like other supporting troops. So here, he plays his Tombstone, so I place down my Bowler. Bowler's really good against Tombstone, obviously. Same as Log. And I realize here, so when he plays his Mega Minion here, I know that he isn't going to leave the Mega Minion alone, because if he does, then I'm just going to play my own Mega Minion, and then I'll kill it. And if he decides to not support, if he does decide to leave the Mega Minion alone, then obviously I'm just going to do what I said. I'm going to kill it with my own Mega Minion while the Bowler's tanking it for a couple hits. But what I thought he was going to do is, when he plays the Mega Minion back there, I had a strong feeling they would play Lava Hound in front of it, which he does. And to counter, while he's down in Elixir, I try to quickly push the opposite lane, which was actually a pretty fatal mistake because he has minions, and those are like the most solid 3 Elixir counter. And I'm not able to fireball, obviously, because I need to defend here. So that actually puts me really behind, and I had a decent thought there, which is like what you want to do when people have tanks. You want to punch their usage of so much Elixir, and you want to split their units so that they can't support the Lava Hound, because that's how beatdown decks win. They put a bunch of supporting units behind it, and they just absolutely shove a ton of troops down the lane, and they overwhelm you. Well, if you counter push like I've been trying to do, they can't do that. They have to split their efforts, and the troops on the left side won't do anything because they're targeting the opposite tower. And it's okay if your tower's kind of split damage, because it really only matters about the 1 crown, because most games end 1 crown, obviously. So here I kind of just start slow again, filling it out. Allow myself to react. I put down Inferno Tower. I want to get that Lava Hound dead as soon as possible, and he actually surprised me with Minion Horde, but I have Fireball, so it wasn't a big deal. And now that Lava Hound's probably going to die pretty quick. Okay, so what he does here is he plays the Mega Minion back there to kill my Ice Golem, which is a perfectly normal play. But since his Mega Minion's so far behind, I know it can't kill my own Mega Minion, so I quickly put down my Mega Minion to kill his Lava Hound and take out the pups. And I try to block the miner there, but unfortunately I missed a little bit, and I have to use archers. That was probably a bad Ice Golem. I should have just played archers instead of trying to predict it. But so I know that he's gonna quickly try to reset and try to attack it again with his Lava Hound. So what I do is I put down my Bowler, and I plan to go on offense here. And instead of going for the opposite tower, which I thought he would, he does go on the left side, but this is fine. I can quickly push. I can use Inferno Tower to defend, and then I quickly push with Graveyard while the Bowler is tanking, and he's not able to zap my Inferno to stop it because he has to defend. And that's why, this is why it wouldn't be smart to purely, I'm just pausing it while I explain, it wouldn't be smart to purely just defend against the Lava Hound. You want to exert pressure so that, and this is against any beatdown deck, like I said, you want to exert pressure so that he has to defend and so that he can't support the Lava Hound. And this is even more so true when they have lightning. And then that way, if they do go all into offense, they're going to lose their tower. Even if you lose yours too, it's okay because you traded. Oh, which I don't think you would lose yours. I think you could defend. So yeah, it's important to split pressure and to make sure the beatdown deck doesn't overwhelm you. And so, once again, I realize he's going to try to push the opposite lane, and this is an instance where I actually don't defend quite as hard. I go all out on offense because I know my push is faster than his. The Lava Hounds don't do their maximum damage till the Lava Hound explodes. So I go all out on offense, and I don't save my fireball for defense. I use it to attack his tower, and I finish off the game. So yeah. It's all about keeping them on their toes and attacking when they're using a beatdown deck, because that's how you beat beatdown decks. You don't play into them. You play split push pressure, and you overwhelm them and make them use their elixir on defense instead of on offense. So I know he's a little bit under leveled, but I'm gonna go show you. I want to show different play styles. So here I'm gonna show you me playing against his hog deck. That way we get like 3 different deck types. Well, not necessarily deck types because the other guy that I'm gonna show uses giant, but 3 different like win conditions, I suppose. 3 different cards that my opponents will use to try to win. And when I say win condition, I mean like the card such as Giant, Lava Hound, their main card that the deck is built around to win the game. So I zap there. I use Bowler on defense, obviously. I zap there because I wanted the Bowler to survive. And so here's something really important. So as this push is going on, I'm thinking, what should I do? Should I use my graveyard on the left or the right? Well, he uses Ice Wizard, and then I instantly decide, oh, I should go and hard push this left side because he just wasted elixir on the right side, and there's nothing to defend my bowler. So I use graveyard, and then he is a little bit behind in elixir, but he does his best to defend. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the best cards in his hand, so the bowler does really good, does a really good job. And he doesn't have archers. Archer's a really good counter, but unfortunately he doesn't have it. So I may have placed my Inferno Tower a little bit badly here because it didn't pull the Mega Minion, but then again the Mega Minion may have killed it faster, so not the worst thing. I use Ice Golem to distract the Mega Minion so I don't take any damage. And now I'm slightly behind in elixir, but I'm way ahead in damage, so I'd say I've done a pretty good job so far. We're going to reset here. He's probably going to start off with like a Princess or an Ice Wizard at the back, and I'm going to start off with a Bowler on the weak side. So typically you want to start the Bowler off on the weak side that's taking damage, especially later in the game when you know they're using a ground deck, because that Bowler will kill anything that's coming, and it forces them to either attack the lower side, the lower health, or the higher health tower. It forces them to attack the opposite higher health tower. It forces them to play into a Bowler, which either way is like a win-win situation. So here he does the smart thing and goes to the opposite side, but unfortunately I have Fireball, and he gave me a huge Fireball value there. And instead of using like my Mega Minion or the Inferno Tower here, I just put a little bit of elixir into my archers, and Mega Minion's better on offense with the Bowler together, I suppose. So, and then I all out go on offense here because I know that he doesn't have any great counters in hand, and I have Zap in hand, so if he does counter with like Skeleton Army, I can zap it. So I punish him there. And I went on offense more, and sometimes you have to take a little damage to do a lot more damage, and that's what I decided there. Instead of defending harder and completely ignoring damage, I used my Bowler that was still alive, and I supported it, and I went in hard. So, I mean, he's kind of desperate at this point, but I don't really agree with the Lightning just on the Inferno Tower because, I don't know, it's kind of a waste of elixir. So I just kind of keep on pushing the opposite side. I'm trying to waste his time so that he doesn't have enough elixir to muster up a push. And that's something I do a lot, obviously, against beatdown decks too. I go to the opposite lane, I make them waste elixir defending, and they can't use it on the side they want to push. So I don't know, I'm just kind of wasting time now. The game's essentially over. I could use Inferno Tower. I have pretty good counter against Hog too. Like, my deck is just really good against Hog. But yeah. So as this game finishes up, we will go check out a giant deck. The deck he's running is actually pretty good against mine. He's using giant Lightning, which is really good against Inferno, obviously, but we'll see how I manage to play against it. And this is the game that gave me my 12th win. So let's fast forward just a little bit to get to the start of the match. I don't know if I actually made it go faster, but so I start off like I said with my archers, a safe start, and then the bowler will be coming down the lane. And I decided to counter with a bowler of my own. You never want to start off with like an Inferno Tower against a bowler, unless it, I mean, if they're using like bowler control. Wait, let me explain this a little bit. He plays giant obviously, but you never want to use bowler just against like a mini P.E.K.K.A. or a bowler, because usually people have a like a hog or a giant or a lava hound, something that is a building targeting troop, and if you don't have a defense, you're really in trouble and it's going to be hard to defend against it. So I think it's really important to only ever use that when someone uses their tank or their win condition. You don't want to use it just on like a supporting troop, which is why I didn't and you never want to preemptively play defensive towers anymore. You always want to wait until you know it's coming, because if you preemptively play it, they're just going to wait and they're going to out-rotate it. So here, now that once he's played the giant, I will play my Inferno Tower. And I actually give him a really good value lightning, but because it's so early on in the game, you can't really do anything else. And I just distract his bowler with an with a ice golem while my bowler and the tower finishes off his giant. And now, since I have so many surviving units, I'm going to use these units to counter push. And I will be putting down graveyard as soon as I have enough elixir for it. And since the Mega Man was going to die anyway and it didn't tank for very long, I actually think it may have been smarter in that situation to wait until the bowler was tanking. But anyway, it was still a good counter push for me, and I was able to zap his skeleton army. And the bowler finishes off his tombstone, and the bowler is going to get a couple shots off. And as you can see, the bowler did tank at the end there, which is really clutch. So you can't argue with that. I mean, you can't complain about that push. I got his tower down to 500. So very good counter push. And now we reset, and he will likely be playing his giant. Giant or bowler, that is. And it looks like he opts to go with the bowler, which is probably smart. You don't want the giant just to take a ton of bowler shots. So we both kind of reset here, and he's going to look to turn it. And he actually gave me a really good fireball value there if I had done it fast enough, and I missed the Mega Minion. So that was a huge misplay by me. I assumed he was going to go giant here, so I went ahead and put the Inferno Tower so the Inferno Tower could take down that Mega Minion since it was in range and have my Inferno like in the ideal placement for defense. But he decides to hold it, which is actually pretty smart, because now he can out-rotate the by putting it at the back. The Inferno Tower will be practically dead once it gets there. So now I'm able to oh, okay, so like I said, against beatdown decks, I will push the opposite lane as soon as they played it in the back, because it makes them waste elixir on the wrong side, and then they won't have as much to support their tank. So yeah, that's what I did. Even though I don't like need the tower, it makes them waste elixir, which is good for me. So I'm going to start setting up here. And, okay, so in hindsight, watching him, what he should have done here is before the giant even got in range of my Inferno, even though it was so low, you can't lightning it, he should have logged it just to get it off the map, because I took advantage of this and I placed a second Inferno to pull the giant farther than I normally would be able to, and that giant took so much damage out of that final tick of the first Inferno. And I mean, it was a good lightning, but he should have logged first before then, because I mean, he did get a bunch of damage off here, and then I used my bowler to retarget his so that his bowler doesn't do any more damage to my tower. But that pretty much lost him the game because he wasn't able to take out my tower on that push. And I'm just going to keep on making him waste elixir on the opposite lane. And then I'm going to... The tower's already in fireball zap range, so I was just kind of biding my time until I could finish the game. So, yeah, that'll end it. Very good, very close match, but I would say that one mistake... Because I do this on stream as well. I like to point out their mistakes so you can learn from their mistakes. And then I like to point out what I'm doing to win, obviously. Because I want you guys to learn from every possible opportunity, both using my deck and in any situation that I encounter. So let's do a quick little recap of everything. And I'm going to kind of go over each troop and how they're used in my deck. So the bowler, I would never start. I really don't like starting off with the bowler unless you absolutely have to, because it's kind of a higher investment and you don't know what their deck is. But once you realize that they're using like a hog or a ground troop, you can start to put it on the weak side, starting at the back, or you can obviously use it as like a reaction against a hog. But it's very strong, obviously, and it's a good tank for counter pushes with your graveyard, which I'll kind of go into. So the graveyard. The graveyard is just an absolutely amazing card. That can be used with surviving troops or with a cheap push with the ice golem to quickly exert pressure and punish them if they don't have the right counters in hand. And speaking of just a general playstyle with this deck, and I think I may have already gone over this a little bit, I don't know, because I kind of failed on my first recording. So I don't remember if I repeated anything. If I did, I'm sorry. Something to keep in mind is every game you need to know what you're going to do to win. And I've said this before, but it's something I strongly believe in. You need to pay attention to what they're trying to do to win their win condition, and you need to try to pay attention to what their counters are to your win condition, which is graveyard. So that's why you start the game off slowly, to like absorb and to learn what they're using. So once you realize what their graveyard counters are, whether it be archers or whether it be minions, then when those cards are out of hand, it's a good time to counter push with Ice Golem and graveyard, which is obviously not a cheap push, and it depends on the situation. You can't do it like you mainly would want to do it like, say they use their archers on offense, then you defend first, and then you can do this push afterwards, or obviously, with those surviving troops, you could also use the graveyard afterwards to take their tower. And so yeah, let's go to the next cards. I'm rambling a little bit. Inferno Tower is very strong. I don't like it as much as I mean I like it more than Tombstone, because Tombstone isn't as good against air, and Tombstone's pretty hard countered by Log, which is used a bunch right now. Log Hog. So next card, Fireball. Fireball is so good with Tombstone at killing archers and minions, which are the main counters to graveyard. And Fireball is also just, it's Fireball. It's a really good direct damage spell. It can finish out the game, and it can remove large heaps of troops that they stack up. And then Mega Minion doesn't really need all that much explaining. It's just an amazing card right now. And then Zap. Zap I absolutely love. I used to run Log because it has better defensive capabilities, but I love Zap in this deck because Zap can both reset for the graveyard. Say you have a bowler that's been tanking, it's about to like 100 HP, you can zap, and that bowler will survive and keep on hitting the tower while the graveyard tanks for it. These like clumped up skeletons tank for it, so it can get you surprising damage. And it's even better when the Mega Minion is the surviving troop that's about to get to the tower, and he thinks the tower's going to finish off, so he doesn't put any troops to take care of it. But your zap will allow the skeletons to tank, and you'll get a ton of unsurprising damage. I do this all the time. I love it. And then also Zap, is just a versatile spell that can be used to take out like archers that are within the circle of your graveyard to finish them off, or to take out goblins, or to take out skeleton army. And then Archer is just really strong, like probably the best starting card in the game. And it's okay to use them at first to start off, because when they split, they can do damage to either tower, and you can back them up depending on. And then obviously they do a lot of DPS, and they're just a really good defensive card. Oh, one thing though, if your opponent is playing graveyard, save the archers and only use them at the back of the circle to counter the graveyard. And he may have Fireball, but then you can just, use Mega Minion and Bowler and whenever needed. But yeah, save them once you realize they have graveyard. So that'll wrap up the video. Thank you guys for watching. I will be doing more deck tutorials in the future, and I hope you enjoy this. Please like, comment, and subscribe.